So today we're going to get super tactical because we've been getting a ton of questions about, well, how do I create a media company from scratch? Maybe you have a brand, you're selling product, or you want to sell product, and you're like, we know we need to do media. We don't even know where to start. So today we're going to break it down. We decided to get the fancy whiteboard out today.
It's a little beat up, but listen, it's a whiteboard. What are you going to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So let's just jump right into it. We want to make this super tactical and show you guys exactly what we do when we consult with brands, when we work with brands, the brands that we have built. And at the center of it is what I like to call your media network, right? Like this is like your home base. This is like the thing. This could be whether
You know what? You could even do like this little thing right here. Little media.
Media? Oh,
yeah.
I like that. That's fancy. So this could be your show. This could be, it could be video. It could be audio. This could be Twitter if you're writing, like whatever that it is. This could be LinkedIn, like whatever that is. But you have a core show that you have that's all part of your media network. All right. Then the next thing that you need for this is distribution. How are you going to take the thing that you're creating? So like this thing right now that we're doing, we put it on YouTube. And
all the socials.
We make it a podcast.
Yep.
We take clips and we put it on but all of that is distribution.
Yeah, and you've got to start thinking about it like we do one thing and it gets distributed everywhere, right? Like you might not be seeing this visually on an MP4 if you're looking at a podcast, but it's also on YouTube. It gets chopped. There's some really good content pieces that show up on Twitter, LinkedIn. We can break that down and use ChatGPT on some LinkedIn stuff, some Twitter stuff, but also you're going to get the Instagrams, the TikToks. You're going to get it everywhere based off one good thing, strong frameworks. You can't just shoot random crap. That's one thing that you cannot do. You actually have to kind of give value, whether it's on a longer form podcast or some tactical stuff like this.
Yeah, so distribution, the way I think about it is there's organic and then there's paid, right? Really simple, but you have to think about this because if you're gonna post something out on YouTube for the first time, like the first video that I post gets 2 views, right? It gets 5 views, right? And so you're gonna have to build this over time, or you use paid to drive up views, which then drives organic, which is something that we do a ton, we'll put a video up on YouTube, we'll put a video up on Facebook, we'll put it up on TikTok, and we'll put money behind that to our core audience, get a ton of views, but then the algorithm's like, whoa, there's a ton of people watching this. There's a ton of people commenting on this because of what you said, which is if you create good stuff, the algorithm starts to find it.
100%.
If you create bad stuff and you pay to distribute it, it goes nowhere because then your engagement, your watch rate's not there, your comments aren't there, your likes aren't there. So creating good stuff, right? Your show, whatever that it is, and then use paid to fuel organic. That is the first step in kind of the distribution.
So big thing you said there, creating really good stuff. That doesn't just mean generic big things. That is like top of funnel, like big audience type stuff. But for example, if you go to TikTok, and you go to TikTok and you search aliens, right? If you go into that video and you look at the top of the search, it'll say something like aliens, Anunnaki, or some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
If you go to over here, you'll see kind of social media marketing tips. If you don't see anything, it's because your video, TikTok is kind of saying I don't know where to go. And so you're getting lack of views. So really be relevant and specific on a topic, because if you don't, it's just going to make, the algorithm's a machine. Right, and so if it doesn't really understand the conversation or where it's going or the flow or cadence of the particular topic, it's just going to go, I don't know, 200 views.
Yeah. So what you just said, YouTube does it too, and it's auto suggest. Right. And so this is huge because, like you said, there's the search bar, and if you type searching in real estate, it's going to start filling this in because it knows, hey, this is the most popular search. This is the second most popular
Localize,
search.
it's Orlando.
Here's Orlando. Is it the Winter Park? Is it Winter Springs? Is it a Coe? Is it DeLand? Is it whatever that it is?
Right.
And then you're real estate and you're Orlando, then you're right. Then it's investing. Is it homes for sale? And so this is huge because this tells you exactly what people are already looking for. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, these are search engines, just like Google is. TikTok is actually the #1 search engine in the world now, then followed by YouTube. Third is actually Google.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's crazy.
And it might lose to ChatGPT soon.
So this is the core, right? So you have your show, you're doing this hopefully more than weekly, but like at least weekly, right?
Ideally, you want to do, if you're going to go into YouTube and stuff like that, you want to go 2 times a week minimum, and you want to keep the exact same cadence. If you start doing 2 videos on YouTube and then you go back to like 1, it's actually going to mess up the algorithm, so be very careful with that stuff.
So the biggest mistake people make in this is they see that and they're like, all right, well, I'm going to go all in. I love this, I'm all in, and I'm going to go 7 days a week. You know how long they make it?
For 1 quarter, max.
Yeah, but you know how long they make it? A week.
A week.
Maybe. Because on
Then
Thursday,
you're burnt out.
Then you're burnt out, or your cousin, sister's friend gives you a phone call and you can't shoot it, and then your kid, he's sick from school. Like,
I already
whatever it
shot
is,
some
right?
stuff. It's all good.
I already shot some stuff. Like,
Yeah.
So I like shooting for weekly to build that muscle, right? To build the content muscle. And then you're right. Then get up to that 2-3 times a week, and then you can upgrade.
Yeah, and you can actually look at our channel now that we've been building out. We have about 20,000 subscribers over 8 videos, but it's a very specific cadence and content. You can actually see the first videos. We tried kind of like this, if you're thinking, if you're reading this, it's too late, kind of Drake vibe. And it actually hit, but then we were like, yo, this is going to get stale. So we're switching out our stuff. We're testing, A/B split testing kind of the thumbnails. So you have to treat this as a business, even though it's not making, it's costing you money, let's be real. It's costing you time, effort, energy, and money, but you've got to treat it like a business, because where you make the growth is the compound.
Yeah, so this all compounds, right? So like this right here, it's a flywheel, right? So you create the content, right? The content gets distributed, right? Then you create more content, which then gets more distribution, and it just keeps going and going and going. And like you said, it just compounds, and you create more content, and then you create more content, and it just continues to grow, which is why you see guys like Mr. Beast, someone goes and just sees their video for the first time this week, and they're like, oh, he's got 10,000 other videos, and then
Then
it's
you
a
get
catalog.
stuck in a playlist, and it's over.
Yeah, so you talked about the fact that this costs money. So the next stage in this, as you're building this out, is we got to send them somewhere. And the number one place that I've always sent people is a newsletter.
That's your community.
Right? That is your community. This is where you have a direct relationship with people, where you own the audience, you control the distribution, because you don't necessarily control this, right? Mr. Beast knows that if he puts out a video, his followers are probably going to see it, but not always.
Yeah.
We hear that all the time. Is like someone's like, I'm subscribed to your channel, and YouTube doesn't even show me the videos, right? So with a newsletter, you control the distribution. You control that relationship that you have with your community. It feels much more intimate. I'm writing to them very much in a, hey, what's up, Los? Here's what's going on. And like having very, very top of mind, topical conversations with my audience. This is, I think, the key to it all. Is everybody thinks like most of us that are watching this aren't going to make our millions of dollars from AdSense. Right, and YouTube pre-rolls, and I don't think the majority of the world will not. Where this all starts to become a business is by funneling these people into a newsletter.
100%. So listen, I will say this. I think a newsletter either has to be extremely genuine, you're writing it, or extremely sophisticated, and you have writers giving really good content and giving like very specific. You can do this with chat. You got to use very specific kind of, it's going to take you hours. So I would either hire someone to make it real, or I would do it myself and make it personal. If you're going to suck at both of those, the other thing that I would say here is that you could go into right now, which the hottest thing, which is a school group. Right? The school group, you can grab a lot of the videos that you already have on YouTube, make that a free course, monetize with some things that are locked, whatever, that's a lock, and start to use that. So you have both options. If I were to do something, because I'm older school, I'm gonna go newsletter, because I know I can monetize that in my fashion a little bit better. But if you're 22 years old, you're gonna go right here.
Yeah. So I love that you brought that up. So I think there's a couple avenues to go to here, right? So newsletter, I think you said it best, is this is really community, right? This is where your community lives. And so school is great for that. Because the other thing that you can do with school is you can go and you can grab, and I'm going into cameraman right here, is I can literally just go up and be like, yo, what's up, this is Greg, here's what's going on today. Like, no, you just shoot a video.
Oh,
Upload it to school right from your phone, right? So you have this, I have the school app right here. I can go into it and I can just new post, boom, upload a video that I just shot. And now, instead of like having to write it out, it's just now in your feed, in your school feed,
100%.
which I love. What I love about this.
If you're a savage, you should do both. But that's
totally do both.
Serious amount of work.
Right. So when it comes to newsletters, I think there's 2 ways to do it, right? We've come into this world where you have branded and plain text. Branded is like everything you're seeing with like Beehive, with Morning Brew, with The Hustle, with these high-level
Almost
newsletters.
professional level.
Yeah, like these are great newsletters. They're well written,
Very
they're well
researched.
branded, they're researched, which is great. But maybe even for your company, it's branded, right? You have the nice header graphic. It looks all like Beehive is probably a really great place to look at to do this right now. They're doing a really great job. How I've done it my entire life, my entire career. We were just joking about this. Like I learned this stuff from Gary Halbert and then Dan Kennedy. I've been in Dan Kennedy's basement, and we talked about this at length. Is I just talk. There's no logos. There is no branding. The only images in there are usually like thumbnails of like a video.
Totally
I want them
different
to go check
relationship with that audience, by the way.
100%.
Yeah.
Because it looks like I'm writing in my diary or I'm writing them a personal
You're
communication.
speaking to them.
That's the relationship that I want, though.
Right.
Is like, we're even doing this, and so I'll tell you how we're doing this in a branded sense. Is so for my son's sunglass brand. So he sends out a newsletter once a week, right? We send it out via Klaviyo from Shopify and all that. But it's literally just like, hey guys, just finished playing a tournament this weekend. We ended up in second place. Check out this cool ring that we got. Me and my dad just ordered. But like, there's no header, there's no graphics, there's no nothing. It's literally just him saying like, here's what I did this weekend. And people love it. They reply and they're like, congrats, way to go. Like, can't wait for the new colors. Like, it's a real relationship as opposed to what you see for most e-commerce brands or any brand on the planet, which is like big flashy header, big fancy graphic, 20% off, go buy now. Like, we have that.
That's
but
an
it's
offer.
but it's like the
That's an
PS.
offer.
It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
by the way, if you like this newsletter and you want to support, the best way is you can grab a pair of glasses, get $10 off with the code summer sale or whatever.
So
it is.
you kind of nailed it. One thing too, I want to say, if you want to go plain text, what that works for, if you're doing e-commerce, you're doing personal brand, that's obvious. You can do either one. But on e-commerce, if you're doing a founder-facing brand, like the guy from Represent, there's a bunch of other people doing that. Man, going right here into plain text, that's going to really hit the mark because you're just kind of sharing like, man, today sucked, it wasn't a good month, we had this, or it was, whatever the case. You're really building a relationship with that growth of the company. And so combining the front facing on the video and taking that into a very personalized thing with plain text, murder.
Yeah, so I love, so there's a company, Breeze. It's a cannabis elixir.
Yeah.
Nick Shackelford, amazing, but he's got, I believe, I want to say it's Corbin. And every email from them comes from someone at Breeze. So that's who it's from, right? So this is the from line. And I love this because now I have a relationship with Corbin. And Corbin is like their community guy or whatever it is. He's like, hey, I'm headed to grandma's for Mother's Day this weekend. And, my mother's not really, usually like you get her a bottle of wine or whatever, but she's not really into that. And blah, blah, blah. Like, and you're like, oh, snap, I know this dude. And he's talking about like literally what he's doing for Mother's Day and like all this. Like, I have a relationship instead of it just coming from Breeze, which says 20% off this weekend only for Mother's Day. But now it's like a story coming from... and
stories sell.
Yeah. And it's so easy. We talked about this, I think, last week, like building in public. You don't have to have the most epic thing of all time. All you need to do is just be like, here's what I'm doing.
It would honestly be weird if you did.
Yeah.
Because you're just going through the moments, So I want to show you guys one more thing here. I'm going to erase a couple of things.
Yeah.
So to keep you guys kind of understanding, like, all right, that's a lot. How do I just get started? I want to leave you guys with a couple of little kind of acronyms. I think that's fine. So one of them is C4, and one of them is art. So C4, we're going to start with content. That's what you've got to create, right? That's the media piece. Then we're going to go into community. That can be your newsletter, your school, your whatever, your email list, your community actual text message thing, whatever. Then if you're a personal brand, you're going to go into conversations. But if you've got content and community and you're an e-com brand, you're going to go into clicks because you're going to want these clicks, right? And then all of this is going to result in conversions. But you have to play all this part to guarantee yourself this. It's a little bit of a longer sales cycle, but this is how things are working now. And then the art thing is basically audience, which is what Greg was talking about, right? Then relevancy. You want to make sure you're relevant, you're connecting with people like, yo, I get it, like he's got an audience, there's some top of funnel stuff, but I kind of like his vibe. And then the last one is trust. Trust is by teaching tactical stuff, by like sharing in public, by doing the newsletters that you were talking about, the plain text. If you have this system and you compound it and you take your time, because it's not going to be fast, you're not going to lose, period.
Yeah, so a couple things that I want, like I love both of these acronyms. I mean, C3 was the name of the podcast originally that we were doing, and we've
just
morphed on from there. It's too many words. But so I want to talk about the fact that this is the model that you and I grew up on.
Yes,
which
sir.
was the model that's been around like since the dawn of the internet, which is let me go pay to get clicks, and that's going to result in conversions. The problem is clicks are way too expensive, and the conversion rate is so far down that most brands can't afford to generate clicks on Facebook, on Instagram, Meta, TikTok, whatever that it is. And so what this is the model for today, which is where like you have to be a media brand that's generating content. So what we just talked about, you take this content, top of funnel, right? Hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views, and you find the super fans and you turn them into your community where you have these conversations, and that leads to conversions because they want to support you. They want to buy your stuff. I mean, how many times has it happened to us where they're like, we want to buy something from you, and you're like, we don't even have anything to sell. We just we're just doing this right now.
And the system gives you so much more goodwill because we grew up like I would buy the ads, he would make the copy. Cool, we get the clicks, we get the conversions, 2-3%. Right? This takes longer, but you're closing 20-30% of people.
And now, again, click to conversion, then you were trying
to build a community. And you were forcing it.
Because these people were just like, I don't even know who you are. I just saw it. I read all your long form sales copy and I just bought from you. And now you're like trying to, join my free Facebook group. And they're like, I don't even know what your product is. I just bought it on the internet.
And you barely had good content in there anyway.
Yeah, love that. And then, again, audience relevancy, trust. This, it just stacks on top of it. Because what you want out of your audience, I think, is the relevant audience. And so many times, I think people go so wide. And look, we all struggle with this. We're like, I want to help everybody, right? I want to help all kinds of businesses. But what are the relevant audiences that you can actually do something for? And then again, I think one of the best ways to develop trust, it's my favorite way, again, learn this from Dan Kennedy, is, I'm going to write it over here, demonstration. I think the best way to develop trust with an audience is to demonstrate that you can actually do what you say that you are going to do. So stuff like this, whiteboard. Do you know how many notes that Los and I had to shoot this video today?
Yeah, and it's not screenshots. It's not your car. It's this. It's this right here.
Right. Dramatic
they want
demonstration.
To trust you because they already found. I kind of relate. I'm relevant with this cat.
Yeah.
And how do I trust you? Well, dude, he's doing what he said.
Yeah.
You know. That's simple. He's got a nice car, trickster. He's got a nice this, who cares? He's doing what he said. So boom, boom, boom. You're a creator, you're an artist. A-R-T. Leave it at that.
Love that. Art, imitating, commerce. Man, I love this.
Making these commas. Subscribe, join the notifications. Please share this with a friend because you know this was gas. Stop lying.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you guys later.
See you guys next week.